This is Don DPK Master here.
And I'm the Soul Chief, and this is Totes Anime.
Alright, Soul Chief, what's going on in Totes Anime?
So this week on Totes Anime, we're going to be doing our weekly anime series review called Should You Watch It, where we take a completed anime series, review it, and help you guys decide whether it is worth watching or not. Yeah. And this week on Should You Watch It, we are going to be reviewing a pretty critically acclaimed series called Death Note.
Death Note, yes!
PK Master, tell us a little bit about Death Note.
Alright, so Death Note is the story of a Shinigami named Ryuk. Shinigami is a death god who drops his death note into the human world, and it's found by a young Light Yagami, a high school student. And he decides to use the powers of the Death Note to change the world for a better in his view, with justice in his view.
Right.
Why don't you go ahead and tell him what a Death Note actually is and does?
So, the Death Note is basically a Shinigami's tool for extending their life. You write a person's name in the Death Note while picturing their face, and you can basically kill them in any way, anywhere you want. Just by writing down their name. If you don't specify a cause of death, you'll simply just die in 40 seconds of a heart attack. It can affect you anywhere, at any time, in any place.
There's a little more-ness to it, obviously. You'll have to find out for yourself.
There are a lot of other rules, but I mean, those are the two most simple ones. But now that you guys kind of know a little bit about the general description of Death Note, PK Master, why don't you tell us a little bit about your least favorite character?
Talk about an unpopular opinion.
Really unpopular.
I gotta say Ryuk. Ryuk is actually my least favorite character. Now, I have legit reasons why he's my least favorite. So, to start off with, I mean, it's his fault.
Right.
It's all his fault. Just, that's all I'm gonna say. Everything happened because he was bored. And that's...
That is what sets the motion.
That is such an obnoxious thing. He was the best designed Shinigami.
I think so. I thought he looked the best.
He was the best, personally, best designed. I mean, I still love Ryuk as a character. It's just, he was comic relief. He was addicted to his apples. He'd go through withdrawals.
That was funny.
And to be completely honest, he was freaking useless. He was useless. He wouldn't answer questions. He didn't even know about the notebook that he had two of. Alright, who would be your least favorite character?
So, for my least favorite character, I have to go with the guy. His name is Toto Matsuda. And basically the way I feel that is almost kind of the same reasons that you don't like Ryuk. Matsuda he's mainly a comic relief character.
Until the end, he was useless and pointless.
Right. He's the most useless member of the task force. He's just constantly getting into trouble and causing mischief, making everybody's jobs harder. He's kind of a comic relief character. I mean, I feel like you could have told the entire story of Death Note without Matsuda ever having to be there, and I actually probably would have preferred it that way.
You definitely could have.
But my most favorite character would probably have to be Light Yagami, the main character.
Yep. Biggest debate is who the best character is out of anyone who's seen this show. So if you're watching, you've seen this show, you'll understand what's about to happen.
The reason that Light is my favorite character is I kind of relate to him. I mean, we've all had that thought of, like, I want to change the world for, the better, because we all know the world is kind of a terrible place. And I'm sure most of us have thought about, if I had the power to change the world, what would I do with it? That kind of thing.
I'd use it.
I really liked his intellect and his cunning. He has an incredible decision-making ability. He's a quick thinker, and more than that, he just has, like, a genius-level intellect. This 18-year-old kid is, like, ridiculously smart. He does make a very compelling main character, I feel like. What about you, PK Master? Who's your favorite?
See, and that's where the debate comes in. My favorite character would have to be El Laliet. He's the world's best detective. He essentially figures out who he's trying to find immediately. he again, just like Light, is a genius level intellect.
Yep.
The guy's addicted to sweets, which I'm completely addicted to sweets. The guy is weird, which we're all weird. We're all very weird. And so I think he's actually, believe it or not, far more relatable than Light. Because I'm not some genius intellect. I wasn't in school, I'm still not. I didn't do any of the crap that he did. But you know what? I'm weird and I got some homies just like Elle does.
I think they're both relatable characters.
He also is the one and only person that truly drove Kira mad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Truly drove him mad.
Definitely could not have picked a better rival for Kira than Elle. I will say that, definitely. So what do you think about the series, like, as a whole? What are your opinions on just the whole of Death Note?
As just for the entirety of it, all around, I'd probably have to say it was by far one of my favorite animes that I got to watch. That wasn't originally a shonen manga.
Right.
I am a huge shonen fan. I love
Shonen are the best.
They're my absolute favorite. They are just our favorites in general. But it's probably my favorite non-shonen.
Me personally, I liked it. I thought it was really good. There were... Maybe I'm just not that smart. There were a couple parts I found a little bit confusing where I had to, like, go back and rewatch it a couple times.
3 or 4 times just to see
it was really well
on.
written. Like the whole plot. It's this psychological chess match of life and death. Exactly, and it was really well written out. The kind of thing where I could not figure out what was going to happen next. It was very, very suspenseful, very, very well written out.
Every time you thought you knew, it was like a Saw effect. I know it's going to happen. I know it's... Oh.
No, you don't.
Never mind.
I'm like PK Master, though. I personally have always been more of a fan of shonen, so it wasn't necessarily my cup of tea when I first started watching it. That was kind of the reason that I waited so long to review it and read it in the first place.
A little more mature. Actually, give it a shot.
It was actually really good. It was almost like, kind of watching an even better version of, I don't know, like NCIS or something like that.
Really? Really? I'd have to say so. 1 to 10. What would you rate it? The entirety of it. Out of all the characters, out of everything that's going on.
It was really, really good. I initially was going to give this a 7.5, but actually I think I'm going to go with an 8. I think I'm going to give it an 8. Okay. And the only reason that it didn't get higher remarks for me is, 1, I wish I would have ran a little longer, and 2, the second season is still good. It's not as good as I thought as the first season. It almost went downhill a little bit at the end there. Still very, very good. I love the way that it ended. But yeah, that's probably what I would rate it at an 8. What about you?
See, I would almost have to say you're right, but because of certain characters that I don't want to spoil, I'd actually have to go ahead and do what he originally was going to go with, that 7.5.
Really?
Even though this is my favorite non-shonen anime. There's certain characters that I felt like there's a better time and place for them to be, and they just misplaced it, and they kind of... I feel like they may have dropped the ball at a certain point. They picked it back up.
Yeah.
But they definitely dropped it at a certain point.
I'm a little bit surprised by that. I honestly thought that you were going to give it a higher rating than I did. You seemed, the whole time we were reviewing it or watching it together, you seemed like you were more into it than I was. I actually thought you would give it a better rating than me.
I was, but...
A little surprised.
Spoilers. Homie dies. And then things go down and just... all around, I guess if we had to average it, I guess we could say it's about an 8.
Alright, everyone, that's going to wrap it up this week. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will catch you next time on Totes Anime.